welcome to Bonita's Kitchen, and thank you for joining us. What I'm going to be making today is apple squares. I like making this dessert with our bottled apples or fresh apples. Now this bottled apples that we got here today is called sweet apple wedges, and this was made a short while ago, so you can see that link. Be posted up at the top left hand corner, or I'll share it at the bottom. I'm going to show you what to do with this to make a delicious filling. We're going to be using simple ingredients. Probably you already got it in your kitchen. So what we're going to do now is get started, and I'll tell you as we go. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to open my bottle of sweet apple wedges. I'm going to pop it into my saucepan, put it on like a warm just to get it to boil a little, and then we're going to be adding in more ingredients to it. You don't need to be adding any cinnamon or sugar because we already got that done in this bottle. But if you want to make the wedges yourself, then what you can do is follow that link and it will show you how to make it to get it ready for this dessert. And pretty much all we're going to do a base. We're going to do a graham cracker crust base, and we're going to do a whipped cream over the top of it. In this as well, we're going to be using gelatine. Gelatine is going to give it is going to set it so that when you cut it into squares, it'll stay firm. So what I'm going to do now is just start to boil or to warm on this. Nice and sealed. So we're just going to pour this full bottle of apple wedges into the saucepan. We're going to let it warm, and right now there's nothing in that, only just the way it was bottled, and that again I'll let you follow that link to see what it is. Going to let this warm, and then after we'll do the gelatin. But what we're going to do now is mix up our graham cracker crust. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have 3 cups of crushed graham crackers. So you can crush them yourself, or you can just buy a package like this and just pour it on in. So that's 3 cups we're going to be using. You don't have to get fancy, you don't have to be leveled cups. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, all depends on you. 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, just pop that on in there. Mine is a little crusty. I realized after that it's starting to harden, so I put a piece of bread in with it. We're going to have 1/2 cup of melted butter, and I'm going to put that on in there as well, and then we're going to mix this on in through. So mix this on through, and of course we all know that we're using safe hand washing at the beginning of making our food, during, and at the end, anytime that we're working with food, I guess, or anything. We'll just use safe hand washing. Now all I need now is a square pan with some parchment paper. So you just need a piece of parchment paper into the bottom of your square pan. And then you're going to take your graham cracker mixture and toss that on in there. I'm just going to get every little bit, because what we're going to do with this, we're going to bake this. We're going to bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes. We don't need any longer than that. Before then, I'm going to push down the graham cracker crust until it's flattened, and then I'm going to cut some of the parchment paper away because I don't need all of that parchment paper. So that's all you need to do there. Okay, I just wanted to rinse my hands there now to get some of that graham crackers off there. Now I'm just going to cut this loose parchment paper. Now the reason for using the parchment paper, I find that's my friend. When this is set and ready to cut, I can just pull this out of the pan, put it onto my counter, and cut them into squares freely instead of cutting it in the pan. I don't want it hanging out over because I don't want it to burn while it's baking in the oven. Because this is all we need to bake, is this crust. So I'm just going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 15 minutes. So I'll get that started. So what I'm going to do is put the crust now in the oven on the center rack. Might be blocking you there with my pot. And in there for about 15 minutes or till you start to see that nice golden look. I don't want it to burn, I want it very light, because once this is boiled together, I'm going to be doing the gelatine. I'm going to show you how that's done, and what we'll do next is whip up our whipped cream. I'm going to be putting some confectionery sugar in with that to get that little bit of sweetness into just a plain whipping cream. If you're making the wedges that I got on that video, you'll need 2 bottles. If you don't, only got 1 bottle because you got it made previously, add some more apples in there, and I'll show you that as well as we go. So now what we'll do is whip up the whipped cream. Anytime you buy a box of whipped cream that you're going to be whipping yourself and you know you're not going to use it for a while, you can freeze it. And that's what I did with mine, but I didn't take it out until early this morning, and I'm trying to get it to thaw. I don't need to use 500 mils. You can if you want to. I only need 250. So I'm just going to be putting half of this box in there, and I'll start whipping it, and then we'll add in that confectionery sugar. So when it gets to about this consistency, then we're going to start adding in our confectionery sugar. Now, when I was telling you that if you buy it in the store and you're like, oh my goodie, I'm not going to make it for a while, and you want to keep it without going bad, freeze it. Take it out into the fridge the night before you're going to use it and let it thaw gradually. Don't do like I did, take it out and have to pray for it to thaw quicker. Okay, now I'm going to turn this on and get this whipping. Okay, so after you do that, what you're going to do now is put this in your fridge and let it stay cool until you make the rest. And I'm going to show you now the apples. So as you can see here, I added in a couple of extra apple wedges because I wanted some fresh ones there as well as my bottled ones. You don't need to add any liquid at this time. If you want to add more sugar when you taste it, you can do that, and more cinnamon. So that's all you need to do there. We're going to let this start to boil there now, and we'll work on our gelatin. Okay, so now I'm ready to take our crust out. Reach in here for that. It's a nice golden brown. I'll show you that when we get a little closer. So now what I'm going to do is get the gelatine ready, and it's a process. So let's get going. So now this is your crust. Look how delicious that looks. It's just a nice golden brown. So your pack of gelatin, it's 1 envelope. We're just going to cut it open. So just pour the gelatin into the bowl, and then take a 1/4 cup of cold water and pour in with it, and just stir it around. And what we're going to do is set this there for 1 minute until you start to see it gel. And that's all we need to do there. So after you can see that minute is up and it's gelled, we're going to take a cup of our liquid, and it might only be a cup there, and just pour the hot liquid from our wedges, our apple wedges. Let's put this back on the stove, and we're going to pour it on in with the gelatin, and just mix it around like this for just a minute. So now you're going to pour all the wedges without splashing yourself into the bowl with the mixture, the gelatin mixture. I'm going to put that off to the side, turn off my damper, I don't want to burn. And then you're just going to fold this in there like this until each one of them is equal. So after, when you got everything in, then you're going to put it in your fridge and let it start to cool down, because we don't want to put it over our crust while it's warm or hot, and it'll start to set in the fridge. And you don't want to go to a solid, you just want to go just enough where you see that it's setting, and then we'll take it out and pour it over the top of our graham crackers, our crust.
So you almost means like almost like a cold jello type setting?
No, just so as I can pour it out. So just set just enough so that you can, it's not going to run out. It's just going to be just nice and a little bit of a gel. And then I'm going to pull the one out of the fridge that I got. I'm going to show you what that looks like. We'll start layering this. So as you can see, it's starting to gel there in through. So what we're going to do now is pour this over the top of our crust that's baked and cooled as well. So just pour it on out like this. We're going to smooth it all the ways over. And what I'm going to do now at this point, if you want it a little bit more sweeter or if you want some more cinnamon, just pour it over the top. I'm going to pour a little bit more cinnamon because to me apple screams out cinnamon when you're making it. Now this part, that's all you need to do there. What we're going to do is put our whipped cream over the top now. So now we're just going to top this over. I'm just going to dollop this on because like I said, now you could use the full 500 ml box, but I didn't want to use all that. I only just wanted a light coat of the cream over the top, and then I'll spread it all over like this. How delicious is that? So then after you finish smoothing out all of that delicious whipped cream that's mixed in with the confectionery sugar, which makes it that little nice sweetness, not too much but a little bit, I'm going to top it again with a little bit of cinnamon. Pop it over the top. I'm just going to shake just a little bit of that cinnamon over the top. Now I'm going to tell you how long you keep this in your fridge before you serve it. So now this dessert, when you're making your apple squares, you want to make it the night before or the day before you're going to serve it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this one in the fridge and we're going to let it sit. And we're going to let it sit there for at least anywhere from 2 to 3 hours or overnight. And in my case, when it's sat, we'll cut it into squares. We'll show you what it looks like. Have a little taste, maybe with a cup of tea. So that's my recommendation. Make it the night before if you're going to need it for a get-together. So I'm going to put mine in the fridge and I'll show you what the one that I got done looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to take out the one that we made the night before. I put a little bit of clear wrap over the top of it. That's optional. I just do that because just to make sure that it's kept nice and nothing else is going to fall on it. What we're going to do, and I'm going to show you this one up close, I'm going to take it out of the pan, but what we're going to do is make a toffee sauce to sprinkle over the top. I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is going to be a hot toffee sauce. Now earlier I told you about putting a piece of bread in with your brown sugar. This was hard as a rock. I couldn't even scoop it, and it softened it up. So right now all I need is a 1/4 cup. Of course what I need is more brown sugar, but a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to put my stale bread back in there, twist it around and put a little twist tie on it, and that'll keep that little bit for me. I'm sure there's something that I want to use it with. 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and a tablespoonful of cream or milk. I'm going to pop this in the microwave for 30 seconds to 1 minute just to melt the butter. Then I'll show you what's next. So when it's melted like that, you're just going to take your whisk, mix it around until it starts to combine, and you'll see that it's thickening. And that happens fairly quick there. Just keep whisking it around like this. And then that's all you need to do there. And this is your toffee sauce. Absolutely delicious. Now this is what our apple squares is going to look like. Of course this here is all in an 8 by 10 pan. And I'm going to ask for help from my good old colleague there, Raymond, to pull the glass pan out, and I could put this down here on the table. That's perfect.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Right on.
So pretty much that's what you need to do there, is take your, well, what it is there is a dessert out of the pan. Now you can do a couple of things. You could put this on a serving plate like it is there and give everybody the option to take what they want, or you can cut it into squares. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do there now. So pretty much you're just going to bring your knife down and cut it. And make another move like this. And again over there. I'm going to turn my paper so it's easier for me. And then I'm going to do the same thing on that side, putting my knife downward and cutting along, making these into delicious serving size apple squares. So delicious. That's all you need to do there. Now this just makes you want to go out now and get some apples and make yourself some of these. And again, easy breezy. Just look at this. I'm going to turn both of them that way. And then with that nice caramel sauce, you're going to go like this over the top. And it doesn't matter how much caramel sauce you put over this. Remember, this is for you and your family. And if some guests in there, this is it. Good as it gets, and they're so delicious. All right, this is as good as it gets. I said that I wanted to have a nice cup of tea with it, and to have, well, I wanted to add the extra toffee to the top, because you can have these without that. Keep these in the fridge at all times, only if you're going to be serving it, because you don't want your whipped cream to start to run. And now what I'm going to do is have a little taste. So delicious. All of the flavors mixed in through the cinnamon with the apples that was already, of course, made previous to. But you can do these with fresh apples as well as the bottle apples. 2 thumbs up by Bonita's Kitchen. I got Raymond over there now drooling, so he'll get to eat soon. I know.
Can't wait.
But until then, I want to just to let everybody know, this is simple to make. This is a nice dessert any time of the year, certainly in apple season, when we're looking for more delicious ways to use up those fresh apples, or the ones that you pick from your own garden, or one you buy in the bin. But this is it, as good as it gets. If you want to see the recipe to this, it's going to be at the bottom. I'm also going to share the link to the sweet apple wedges, and you'll see that either at the bottom or up at the top. I guess it's a question mark or a comma up there. And you can also visit us on www.bonitaskitchen.com. I usually make myself either a red rose or a Tetley tea, but today I decided I wanted a little bit spicier, so I've done a little bit of mint and ginger, which is very tasty today with this. And as well, if you want to check out more of our recipes, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is here. Subscribe button is at the bottom of this video, and you can also visit us on our Facebook page. Send us a message on either one of those, a video suggestion. If we can do that, we'll make it for you. We also like to thank each and every one of you for all of your comments, messages, and of course your video suggestions. We do have a variety of recipes, traditional and non-traditional Newfoundland and Labrador recipes. We got quite a few viewer requests, and we got a few of my own recipes. So you got lots to choose from. So on that note, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. From our kitchen to yours. You have a wonderful day. If you're visiting our province here in Newfoundland, Labrador, don't forget to check out Salmon Cove Sands, located here in Salmon Cove. And as well, join us again on Bonita's Kitchen.
Join us by the sea, a journey in culinary. kitchen to yours. Bonita's kitchen.